This is the new Shark Slider Nano II from iFootage, a compact motorized slider that delivers extremely smooth shots and is compatible with DJI gimbals like the RS4 to create a seamless multi-axis motion control system. Hey, what is up guys? 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 here, and today we're gonna take a look at how easy this new slider is to use, the dynamic, stunning shots that you can get from it, and of course we're gonna take a look at the build quality and specs. Now, full disclosure, this early look video is sponsored by iFootage, but as always, my goal is to bring you honest first impressions and showcases, as well as by the end of this video, hopefully we can figure out whether or not it's something that you would want to add to your kit to upgrade your workflow. Okay, so let's jump right into a little demo of just how easy the Slider 2 from iFootage is to operate with a DJI gimbal. Now, according to iFootage, the DJI gimbals that are compatible are gonna be the RS2, RS2 Pro, RS3 Pro, RS4, and RS4 Pro. So I've got the RS4 right over here. So to set this up, step one, you're gonna wanna connect the gimbal plate that iFootage provides with this kit. And all you have to do is unlock this, slide it in, and latch it down, and you're good to go. Step two, you're gonna want to disconnect your gimbal battery grip from the gimbal head, and then you're gonna just take that gimbal head and pop it right onto the gimbal plate. And now it's all locked in and ready to go. Next, on the side, you can pop in one of these standard Sony MPF batteries. There's other ways to power this, and I'll talk about that later, but this is just like kind of like the most convenient way to do it. So you just go ahead and slide it right in, and it clicks into place. And then you're gonna wanna connect this little gimbal control cable for the slider to talk to the gimbal. And how you're gonna do that is you're gonna put it on the side of the gimbal right here, screw in these thumb screws until it's nice and snug, and then connect the magnetic connection point right here at the front, and that should be good to go. Next, you're gonna wanna power on the slider and the gimbal. So to power on the slider, you just wanna press the power button right there for about 3 seconds, and the screen should turn on. And then also, you're gonna wanna power on the gimbal as well. And this is really important. To do this properly, you're gonna wanna make sure that the push mode on the gimbal is turned on. So in order to do that, you're gonna want to go into the settings on the back of the gimbal back here, right? All you're gonna have to do is drag down, and at the bottom right here, there's a little, what shape is that? Is that a pentagon? 6 sides, hexagon. Click on the hexagon setting right here and scroll down to push mode. Go in there, make sure that push pan and push tilt are both enabled. Okay, and now that you've had the push mode enabled on the gimbal, you're gonna wanna go onto the slider screen right here, the touch screen, and you're gonna go ahead and click on video. If there's any keyframes that were already previously there, you can go ahead and hit X to delete those keyframes. And now you wanna unlock the slider, and to do that, you're gonna press both the power button and the function button at the same time. Should hear a little beep, and that means that the gimbal and slider is free to move. So let's go ahead and set our first keyframe. We're gonna use this plant as our subject right here. We're gonna put it right there. And now we can just go ahead and point for our first frame. Well, I want it somewhere around right there. That looks good to me. Let's go ahead and autofocus on that. Okay, once you have where you want your first keyframe to be, go back to the screen over here and go ahead and press A to set your first keyframe. Now you can go ahead and slide the slider to wherever you want your second keyframe to be. We're gonna go ahead and center the plant again. That looks about good to me. And then we're gonna go back to the screen here, and we're gonna go ahead and press B for the second keyframe right there. And by default, it has it set to a 15-second duration on the slide. You can set that to whatever you want it to be, but we'll leave it at 15 seconds. And when you're ready, you're just gonna hit the standby button. It's gonna move it into position, and then you're gonna press start. And boom, there it goes. Now it's gonna go ahead and do that movement, and currently I have it set on loop, so it's just gonna keep doing that movement over and over again. And what's really, really nice, I said this is a super easy setup to use. The gimbal is Bluetooth paired to my camera, and the gimbal is physically paired to the slider, and when I hit start on the slider, it automatically started recording on the camera as well. So it's just super simplistic. This is what I wanna see more from companies, making products that are easy to use and intuitive without a bunch of apps, without a bunch of convoluted settings. If I wasn't like demoing this for you guys, that would probably take me about less than a minute to get set up. That's what we like to see. I just wanted to say thank you to 𝗚𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 for helping me film the BTS here. Mwah. Of course, if you don't have a compatible DJI gimbal, you can always use the Shark Slider Nano II as more of a traditional motorized slider. This will allow you to get smooth trucking shots side to side and smooth dolly shots pushing in or pulling out from a subject. On top of that, you can mount the slider in a vertical orientation to get small crane shot movements going up and down. The slider also has a built-in pan head, so you can still get orbiting shots even without a gimbal. I really love the fact of how much they simplified this product to be so intuitive and user-friendly, and you can go way farther and be way more creative with it depending on what kind of applications you want to put it through. For me, it's gonna enhance product shots and it's gonna allow me to add small, repeatable movements to any narrative projects I'm working on. But if you live stream, you can even use this for subject tracking to allow you to move around your space with the camera following you using your phone with iFootage's mobile app. Outside of these setups we've been talking about, my favorite feature, as you can tell, is definitely the simplicity in operating this slider. Everything you need to operate this slider can be accessed on the OLED touchscreen with access to 5 modes: video, time-lapse, stop motion, macro, and panoramic, with each of these settings providing more functionality to really dial in the movement you're looking for to get the smoothest results possible. And something I really love is how quiet this slider is. With sliders I've used in the past, they're really good, really smooth, but they can be quite loud. And this one, when using it at like moderate to slow speeds, it's near dead silent. Take a listen. But I will say that if you want the slider to do really fast movements, like travel the length of the slider in like 2 to 3 seconds, you're definitely gonna get some audible noise. All right, let's take a look at the build quality and specs. First of all, the chassis feels well made with metal construction and nothing feels cheap on this slider. There are 2 versions of this slider, so I'll put the specs on screen for both. The biggest difference, of course, is the travel length of the slide carrier, with the short version, which is the one I'm using, having a travel distance of around 9 inches, while the longer version has a travel distance of around 17 inches. Otherwise, the specs between the two are very similar, both with a horizontal payload capacity of about 15 pounds and a vertical payload capacity of about 8 pounds. What was nice to see is that despite the size difference between the 2 models, they weigh about the same, with the shorter model weighing in at around 6 pounds and the longer model being just shy of weighing in at around 7 pounds, making this a lot more travel friendly and opening up the possibility of traveling with this slider. Now, earlier I said that there were multiple ways you could power this slider, and this is another feature that I really like about this product, so let's get into that. Of course, as you saw, you can use a standard Sony MPF battery to power the slider, but there's also a USB-C power delivery port that can power the slider as well. For this, any 60-watt USB-C power delivery source will do, so that means you could have it running to a wall brick for indefinite power, or you could power it with something like iFootage's own PD 140-watt battery grip, which can also be used to power devices like the slider or lights, and can be used as a power bank to charge your devices like your phones or laptop. For the Shark Slider Nano II 9-inch version, it's going to run $649, and for their longer 17-inch version, it's going to cost $749. These are both available to purchase now on iFootage's website or on other retailer sites as well, like B&H Photo. Personally, I think this is priced really well, because for any other similar motorized slider options out there on the market, you're going to be looking at similar costs, if not more costs. Now, granted, if you want the full system capabilities of adding in pan, tilt, and roll to really make this a dynamic piece of kit, you're gonna have to have a DJI compatible gimbal, which obviously adds to the total cost of this setup. But if you already own a DJI gimbal, I think that this is a really good value proposition and a great addition to anyone's kit. If you're like me and you shoot a lot of product videos, or if you like to add that slow and cinematic, intentional movement to your films, I think something like this will be really great for you. Or if you're somebody who shoots a lot of time-lapses and landscapes, I could see this being an incredible value add as well. Overall, I think this is a really nice piece of kit, and granted, I've only used it for about 2 weeks or so this isn't like a long-term review or my in-depth thoughts on the product, but based on my experience with sliders in the past, I think that this is really promising. And if this is something that you guys are interested in, I can definitely make a follow-up in-depth long-term review 6 months down the line, a year down the line, to see what I've been able to produce with it, as well as how often I've used it, to really dive into whether or not it was a good value add to my filmmaking kit. If you guys are interested in checking out this slider, I'll leave links in the description down below. All right, that's it for this one. Let me know in the comment section down below on what you think of this slider and the fact that it can pair and work with a DJI gimbal. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why or why not? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed for more videos to come. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.